Working hard in a traditional 9 to 5 is no longer a reliable way to get ahead. That statement sounds a little extreme until you look at what has happened to wages, wealth, and job security over the last 40 years. Adjusted for inflation, the average worker earns the same hourly pay today as they did in the early 1970s, despite massive gains in productivity. Over the same time period, housing, healthcare, and education costs have multiplied far faster than wages. I'm telling you this because many people blame themselves for feeling stuck when the system itself stopped rewarding effort. Once you see the mechanics, you can stop playing a losing game. This issue explains why effort alone stopped working and what to do instead. The most common belief is that working harder leads to higher pay. That belief assumes wages grow in real terms as the economy grows. In reality, inflation-adjusted wages for most U.S. workers have barely moved since the 1970s, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics and the Pew Research. Productivity rose roughly 80% over that same period, but typical worker pay rose closer to 25%. This gap exists because productivity gains were captured by companies and shareholders rather than passed to employees. The result is that many people work longer hours without improving the standard of living. Effort still matters, but the reward structure changed. Essential costs increased faster than wages. Housing prices more than doubled in many metro areas since 2000. Healthcare costs rose well over 150%, and education costs climbed even faster. A household needs close to 6 figures to afford what was considered a basic middle-class life 20 years ago. This matters because even consistent rate raises cannot create progress when expenses rise faster than income. The problem is not motivation, it's arithmetic. Hard work cannot compensate for negative math. Another assumption is that when companies do well, workers benefit. Most corporate profits are distributed to executives and shareholders, not employees. Corporate profit margins are near historic highs, yet labor's share of income is near historic lows. CEO pay has increased over 1,000% since the 1970s, while typical worker pay increased around 25% over the same period. This divergence exists because employees are paid a fixed wage, while owners benefit from growth. Effort increases output, but ownership determines who captures value. This is a structural issue, not an individual one. Stock ownership data makes this clear. The top 10% of households own 90% of all stocks, and the top 1% own about half. Most workers own little or no equity, meaning they do not benefit when markets rise. This explains why record stock markets coexist with not widespread financial stress. Growth happens, but it has bypassed most people. Effort without ownership has limited upside. That constant constraint defines modern employment. Employees do not build assets. Wealth is built through assets, not wages. A traditional job pays for time, not for long-term value creation. When you leave a job, your income stops, and nothing continues working on your behalf. Most employees retire with minimal savings because wages rarely exceed expenses by enough to compound. This is why the median near retirement worker holds only a few $1,000s in liquid savings. The system rewards continuity of labor, not accumulation of assets. That distinction determines outcomes. Some companies offer stock options or profit sharing, but these are exceptions. Most employees have no equity stake in the organizations they help grow. This means years of effort produce income, not ownership. Once the work stops, so does the payoff. That design limits long-term mobility regardless of discipline, or skill. It explains why many high-performing employees still feel trapped. They are earning, not building. Time-based income has a ceiling. A salary is constrained by time. There are only so many hours you can sell in a week. Even top earners are limited by personal output unless they own systems or assets. This is why most top earners eventually shift toward businesses, equity, or investments. Labor income grows linearly. Asset income compounds. The difference matters more over time than effort levels. Hard work alone cannot overcome a structural ceiling. This also increases risk. If income depends entirely on your ability to work, any disruption becomes a financial emergency. Layoff, illness, or industry shifts can erase 2 years of progress overnight. Recent mass layoffs at profitable companies show that performance does not guarantee security. Employment stability is weaker than it appears. That instability makes time-based income fragile. This is not pessimism, it's simple observation. Stop optimizing effort, start optimizing leverage. The common response to stagnation is to work harder. That response assumes the system still rewards effort proportionally. A more accurate approach is to ask where effort compounds and where it does not. Effort applied to wages caps out. Effort applied to asset scales. This is the key distinction most people are never taught. Once you see it, career decisions look different. The goal shifts from maximizing effort to maximizing leverage. Leverage comes from ownership, skills that travel, and systems that persist. This does not require quitting your job immediately. It requires redirecting excess effort towards things that outlast hours worked. The people who progress are not those who work the longest days. They're the ones who convert effort into durable value. This perspective reframes work entirely. It turns frustration into strategy. How to respond without burning everything down. Separate income from skill development. Do not expect your job to future-proof you. Use it to fund learning rather than define it. Set aside consistent time to build skills that are portable across roles and industries. Focus on skills that increase problem-solving capacity, not credentials alone. This creates optionality, which reduces dependency on a single employer. Optionality is a form of leverage. It shifts power back to you. Build assets alongside employment. An asset is anything that produces value without your constant presence. This can be a small business, a newsletter, a paid skill, or a digital product. Start small and treat it as a long-term project, not an escape plan. The goal is not immediate replacement of income. The goal is reducing reliance on time-based pay. Assets change the math gradually. That gradual change compounds. Learn basic business mechanics. Understanding marketing, pricing, and distribution matters more than perfect execution. Many skilled people remain underpaid because they never learn how value works. Business literacy allows you to position skills effectively. This applies whether you stay employed or not. It increases negotiating power and opportunity recognition. Ignoring this keeps you dependent. Learning it expands options. Make your work visible. Private effort rarely compounds. Public work creates surface area for opportunity. Document what you are learning, building, or testing. This does not require personal branding or constant posting. It requires consistency and clarity. Visibility attracts leverage over time. Silence does not. The 9-to-5 did not become broken overnight. It changed quietly, without expectations, stayed the same. The real risk is not leaving too early, but staying too long without adapting. Most people do not need a dramatic exit. They need a controlled shift.